Welcome to today's episode. This time we're talking about major depressive disorder, its symptoms, how it physically and emotionally feels, overlaps between depression and generalized anxiety disorder, and what you can do to manage symptoms of depression. Trigger warning, we do talk a lot about suicidal ideation.
Mm-hmm.
Goes with the territory.
Mm-hmm.
This way in to symptoms of depression. Man, wow.
Yeah.
Depression is not a fun topic. It's really not. It's depressing.
Yeah.
What else can I say? It's
Yeah.
not fun.
No. And we don't want to
Yeah.
make light of it, but at the same time, it's okay to look on the bright side, I should say. Although that somebody with depression isn't going to want to hear that or do that.
Yeah. Exactly. It's very superficial. Oh, just look at the bright side, count your
Yeah.
blessings.
Right.
Like logically, that's a good thing to do and be,
Sure.
grateful for what you do have and that kind of stuff. That's all good stuff. That's all logical. And in CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, that's the main point, focus on what your thoughts are. If you change your thoughts, you're going to change how you feel. Well, that's not always true. It helps, but it's not always true.
Mm-hmm.
Because depression isn't logical. It's not coming from your logical part of self. It's coming from your stress response, specifically the shutdown branch of the stress response. Depression isn't mobilization like fight and flight branches are, it's immobilization.
Mm-hmm.
So, a lot of depression is really just your body not wanting to cooperate in so many ways. Like it's hard to get out of bed, it's hard to move, it's hard to want to eat, it's hard to want to do anything. There's no motivation. I could go on, but your body is just in a state of shutdown, essentially. So, with that being said, I'm going to get back to symptoms. I'll get into that a little bit more deeply. But with
Okay.
depression, this is really hard because you want to be doing things, you want to feel better, but it's just like I just can't pull myself into doing something else. Have you ever had experience like that or known anyone who's struggled with that?
I don't believe I've ever been like clinically depressed,
Hmm.
but I have certainly had times in my life where I was like, I don't feel like doing anything. And I know that one of the things to look for is things that you used to enjoy, you don't enjoy anymore.
Yeah.
And I have definitely had periods of that, but it's always been because of something like a breakup or something like that. And
Yeah.
so I feel like it's just a reaction to that rather than a full-on depression.
Hmm. Yeah.
So for myself, I do know that I've had friends who have been diagnosed with depression and on medication for depression. So I
Yeah.
have seen that in others that I'm around for sure.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think it's really hard for anyone to say like, "Oh, I don't know anyone who's had depression." I think we all know someone who's had depression at least one
Sure,
point in their life.
sure.
The statistics are pretty obvious. At least one in five U.S. Citizens or people who live in the U.S., you don't have to be a citizen to have depression, obviously. So one in five people who live in the U.S. has been diagnosable for depression at least once in their life. I think that statistic is low,
Really?
really, because a lot of people don't know what the full-blown symptoms of depression are. They think they're just in a lull or a low point or whatever, and it's actually depression. And I'm not trying to be like, oh, you should be diagnosed with depression. No, because that diagnosis sticks with you, as pretty much every diagnosis does.
Mhm.
You don't have to be formally diagnosed with depression to know that you have it or have had it. So, to your point, Amy, I mean, everything that you've experienced has had a definitive trigger for feeling depressed. And that's a good observation. To me, depression isn't, oh, you were born with a chemical imbalance in your brain. That's not it. That is pharmacology propaganda.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's
Yes,
good to know.
it is. Because there's so many things in life that contribute to our shutdown stress response being on. A lot of the time, if we're born with depression, it's because something happened when we were in utero and it wasn't good.
Mm.
Someone's birth could have been traumatic, it could have been
Mhm.
horrendous, so on and so forth. So, these early traumatic experiences that we don't give credit to, most people don't give credit to, contribute to symptoms of depression.
Hmm.
and anxiety and PTSD. I could go on. So we have all these experiences that we may not even realize or remember that we went through, plus the way we grew up, the way our parents treated us, what was going on in our family of origin. A lot of these things, if we're not being treated with love and respect, even as a little baby, we get depressed. We all innately know that we're supposed to be loved, and we know how it feels innately, even as little babies. I think little babies know it more than the rest of us, really.
Hmm. Yeah.
And so, if we're not getting our needs met, our physical needs, our emotional needs, our attachment needs, if we're not getting our needs met, if our parents have avoidant attachment or disorganized attachment, ambivalent attachment, we're not getting the things that we need to have decent mental health. So there's so many things we need to have for us to have good mental health, and there's so many things we need to not happen
Hmm.
for us to have good mental health too. And so there's so many little things that happen in life, especially earlier on in life, that we have no recollection, explicit recollection for, but our bodies, our emotions know what's up.
Hmm.
I've known people who were depressed their whole lives because they had shitty childhoods, because they had sexual abuse from a babysitter when they were 2 years old. There's so many horrible and not even horrible experiences we go through that contribute to symptoms of depression.
Hmm.
Do you know anyone who's been depressed their whole lives?
I'm thinking of somebody who, to me, seems like she always was.
Hmm.
Um, but she had a lot of mental health issues and was on a bunch of meds for them.
Sure.
I don't know if she was, I want to say maybe borderline, but I know she was, I think, manic depressive because she did have those wild swings.
Yeah.
And I didn't know her whole life, but I knew her for a good 15 years
Hmm.
recently.
Yeah.
And that when you say that, she's the first person that popped into my head.
Sure.
And everything is a drama. Everything is
Mm,
dramatic. Everything is earth shattering. Everything is going to ruin my life.
mm, mm.
When everything from my perspective that has quote unquote ruined her life was manufactured by her.
Yeah. That happens.
So I'm like, well, if you had paid your rent, you wouldn't be evicted. And
Yeah.
you could pay your rent if you hadn't fucked up at work and lost every job you've ever had. And so,
Uh-huh.
I look at it like that. I don't say that to her, of course. Never have.
Yeah.
That's all up in here. But
Yeah.
yeah, I would say that she probably, among the other things that were going on with her, probably an underlying depression.
Yeah. Yep. I think the dramatic more comes from the borderline than the
Mm,
depression. Depression's not very dramatic
mm,
until it gets to be really severe.
mm,
And I'll get into that. So we can have symptoms of depression and symptoms of anxiety and symptoms of a personality disorder, symptoms of PTSD. We can have them all. We're diagnosable for many things all at the same time.
mhm,
So there's going to be a lot of overlaps. And there's a lot of overlaps between depression and anxiety. And I know we covered anxiety last time. So I just want to speak to the overlaps here and then really get into the symptoms of depression.
okay.
So some of the overlaps is really what's going on with our bodies. We can be physically tense on edge with depression and anxiety. Even though depression's from the shutdown branch of the stress response, there's still some part of us that's like, but we can't just play dead. We still have to be ready somehow because I still
Mhm,
have bills to pay, you know?
mhm,
So depression and anxiety really do go hand in hand. If someone has depression, I wouldn't be surprised if they're also diagnosable for anxiety and vice versa because of these overlaps.
mhm,
With anxiety, there's motivation to run away to complete things, but there's also a lack of motivation. Like, oh, I really don't want to do this. With depression, there's a lack of motivation. Yeah, I really don't want to do this. It feels and sounds and looks different, but it's the same symptom. With anxiety, you could be super hungry and you could eat a lot. Same way with depression. You can just be like, oh, I'm just trying to, not feel so empty. So I'm filling my stomach. So I just don't feel so empty. But anxiety is like, oh, I just got to eat because I'm super anxious.
mhm,
Or vice versa. For vice versa. Oh, I can't eat because I'm so anxious. Oh, I just don't want to eat. I don't have an appetite. So again, it looks, feels, acts differently. Same symptom though. Um, Sometimes there's also that irritability piece. Irritability is definitely a symptom of anxiety. Like you're a little more on edge, you're a little more snippy snappy. Ah. But with depression, it's especially for guys. This comes out in guys more than women for sure.
Hmm.
It's you're look, this fucking sucks. This is fucking stupid. And I hate this and this is dumb and I can't believe this is happening. So that's irritable in a different way.
Hmm.
And so for the symptoms of depression, I they're all the same if it across gender spectrum whatever, but it presents differently for, cisgender males versus cisgender females. Um Again, guys just they tend to look more angry, irritable, pissed off, everything sucks. And that's not necessarily how women tend to present with
Hmm.
depression. It's like, oh yeah, this sucks. This is terrible. Without the aggression behind it.
Hmm. Do you think that's a control thing? Like, I don't know if control is the right word, but I think of like in society in general, in our patriarchal society, men are
Hmm.
supposed to be the ones in control, making sure everything's right, making sure everything makes sense, and the woman sits back at home going,
Uh-huh.
"Oh, that's boring." So, do you think that has anything to do with like the way that men are trained to act in a situation and the
Yeah.
way that women are?
Yeah, in a lot of ways. Absolutely. Yep. Remember in our society especially, but not just ours, a lot of cultures have this as well, where, men can be angry and they can be macho and blah blah blah, and that's the only emotion they can show if they're going to have emotions. You can be angry, but that's it. And for women, you can have any emotion because you're a woman. You just can't be angry because then you're a bitch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's how we're socialized for sure. How we're supposed to manage our emotions or whatever. And so dudes really do get pigeonholed into if you're going to show emotion, it's going to be this.
Hmm.
You don't have emotions unless it's this. Or you don't have emotions, period, even though I'm pissed off. That's not an emotion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of it is about control as well, because with depression, it feels like you don't have any control over anything.
Hmm.
And that's a really tough position to be in. Man, woman, non binary doesn't matter. It's a tough position for anyone to be in. And so, again, typical gender presentation, women tend to be more like, oh, I'm sad about it. And men are more like, oh, I'm pissed off about it. So that's another overlap with anxiety and depression is while you have the shutdown response, there's also the fight and flight response in there too, because some part of us, part, know that we have to keep functioning somehow.
Hmm.
And that's what makes depression so hard. If you don't have anyone to help you, if you don't have a partner, if you don't have family, if you don't have friends, if you don't have anyone to help you and you just roll over because I'm so depressed, you're not paying your bills. You are going to get evicted. Eventually, you are going to get out on the street because you have nowhere else to go. And so depression gets to be really insidious with that.
Hmm.
One of the main hallmarks of depression is lack of motivation.
Hmm.
You don't have to necessarily have to be down, sad, depressed if you have the lack of motivation without feeling down, sad, depressed. You can still be diagnosed with depression.
Okay.
So the main symptom, feeling down, sad, depressed, blah, whatever, of course, that you have to experience this for at least 2 weeks at a time to be diagnosed with major depressive disorder, at least 2 weeks at a time of feeling down, sad, blah, or unmotivated. And this isn't just like, oh, I don't feel like doing it today. This is 2 weeks at a time. I don't feel like doing jack shit. And I
Hmm.
am struggling to even get my body to move.
Hmm.
So, in addition to either feeling down, sad, blah, or lack of motivation, or both. They usually are both, but one or the other. In addition to that, you also have to be feeling like your appetite's out of whack. You're eating too much. You're not eating enough. You're never feeling full or satisfied. Never feeling hungry. So on and so forth. Your sleep is also out of whack. You're sleeping too much. You're not sleeping enough. You're an insomniac. You can't get out of bed. You can't wake yourself up. You're never feeling rested. So on and so forth. You could be irritable. You don't have to be irritable. You could also feel like you're worthless or you're a failure. You're letting yourself, your family, the whole world down somehow. Some sort of negative cognition in here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a piece of shit. I'm never going to amount to anything. I might as well just go roll over and die because nothing's going to get better. So on and so forth. Is these negative cognitions are rampant with depression.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You could also have suicidal thoughts. You could have suicidal attempts if things are bad enough. So, with that being said, the overlaps again with generalized anxiety disorder is how your body feels. When you're depressed, you're feeling maybe not super tense, on edge like anxiety, but you sure can be.
Mm-hmm.
With anxiety, you're more amped up because it's the flight response. But even with the shutdown response with depression, you could still have that tension.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what else overlap. A lot of negative cognitions are an overlap. Even if you have generalized anxiety disorder, like it could be the same negative cognitions. Well, I'm never going to amount to anything. Oh, I'm never going to amount to anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when symptoms of depression get bad enough, they get to be severe, people can end up, you know, killing themselves, killing other people. They could have psychosis, which is delusions and hallucinations, and it could be really bad.
Mm-hmm.
The Usually the worst that happens if people have really bad symptoms of depression is they take their own lives.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so with that being said, if I'm going to speak about suicide, I have to mention murder suicide. And so a lot of the time people paint dudes, and it's usually dudes, guys, the vast majority, I don't know, like 98% of murder
Wow.
suicides. My statistic could be off, but it's up there. I'll have
Yeah.
to look into this a little bit more just to give it an accurate statistic. But the vast majority of murder suicides are perpetuated by dudes.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, he was depressed. It was a crime of passion. Blah blah blah. That's not depression. That is about power and control. If you hear of a woman being murdered, it is usually by a guy, and it is usually
Mm-hmm.
by someone she's currently or formerly intimate with.
Mm-hmm.
That is not depression. That is about power and control. People who are depressed will more likely hurt themselves than anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And one more shocking statistic: 8 of the murder suicides were perpetrated by family annihilators, all of whom were male. 7 of these incidents involved intimate partners. 7 of these 8 family annihilator incidences involved intimate partners. So I just want to make that very clear. If it's murder suicide, it's not about depression, it's about power and control.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I'll get off my soapbox. So, if you have depression, how does it feel? You probably know how it feels if you've had depression. The first thing I could say is your body just does not want to move. And if your body's moving, it's not moving as efficiently or quickly or whatever as it normally is.
Mm-hmm.
It might even feel like you're just like walking through molasses. It just takes so much more effort just to get your body to move. It
Mm-hmm.
just takes so much more physical, mental, emotional effort just to move. And if you're going about your day and you're like, okay, well, I have this meeting at 3. Gosh, I'm just not prepared. It is everything just is harder than it should be.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels more daunting. You're walking uphill, you're pushing a rock uphill constantly. So it just physically feels you have no energy. And that's another symptom too, just feeling fatigued, having no real energy, just you can't get enough energy to save your life.
Mm-hmm.
Another way it physically feels is you could have like a constant pit in your chest or your stomach, like your abdomen's caving in. It could feel like your body's physically heavy, like gravity is just pushing on you harder.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just the stomach upset all the time because you're either always hungry or never having an appetite. And when you eat, it just doesn't taste right. It doesn't feel right in your stomach.
Mm-hmm.
Your whole digestion could be out of whack too. Like, you could get constipated. You can start getting diarrhea, stuff like that. Like your
Mm-hmm.
body just isn't happy at all, period.
Mm-hmm.
When you're trying to sleep, you might be just laying there like Your eyes are just wide awake and they won't shut, or when conversely, when you're trying to wake up, your eyes just won't open. It's a real crapshoot.
Yeah.
It's tough. So, in addition to your body just not wanting to move and operate, the way you think is also really skewed because parts of self are parked in the driver's seat. You know, parts of self that have all of these symptoms of depression. Not every part of you is saddled with these symptoms of depression, but the parts of you that are, they're way up in the driver's seat and they've kind of taken over the bus. And so sometimes your thoughts can get dark. For example, there's a lot of atrocities in the world, and there have been for a long time. So, an example of, someone in let's say Africa, because there's so much horrendous stuff going on there, and so thinking about that, it's like, oh, the women who decided to kill themselves rather than deal with that horrendous abuse and whatnot, like, yeah, good for them, good choice.
Hmm.
That's kind of how people start thinking, like, yeah, I can't blame them. I'd rather off myself too.
Hmm.
And so if you don't have depression, you'd be like, oh, that's horrible. I hope they get help and I hope this thing stops. And they're like, oh, yeah, I can't blame them for offing themselves. Yep. Mm-hmm. Do you hear the difference?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And so the way our thought patterns are when we're depressed are they're a little skewed too, especially when it comes to ourselves. Like, yeah, I'm a terrible person. No one loves me and people are right to not like me. And I'm never going to have friends because I'm a terrible person. So our self-talk is not good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of little things that people experience kind of uniquely. And I'm not going to get into all of those little things, but our inner personality with our parts of self and how our parts of self play together and all of that stuff that really gets thrown off. And so that can really just throw people out of whack altogether. So it's tough to deal with, especially when the body is not cooperating, when your thoughts aren't cooperating. Nothing seems right. Nothing sounds good. It's hard to live,
Hmm.
really. And a lot of the time, if people think they have depression, they probably do. They're not wrong. Whereas people are like, oh, I might have a personality disorder. No, I don't think you do. Oh, I have ADHD. Yeah, you don't meet the clinical criteria. Oh, I have depression. You probably do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, One major symptom of depression that I forgot to mention is never feeling joy, never getting really in enjoyment, pleasure, interest, like the things that normally you're interested in, you're not interested in anymore. Normally, the things that you get enjoyment from, you're not enjoying it anymore. Stuff that you know that you love, just you don't love. So, depression, this is a really hard symptom to deal with too, because logically, you know you should be liking this, but you just can't muster up the feeling for it. So, a lot of the time, people are like, oh, I'm so depressed about this. Like, you can be really sad about something, but it's not depression.
Hmm.
Major depressive disorder, again, is at least 2 weeks at a time of experiencing these symptoms together. You can be momentarily depressed. It's not major depressive disorder.
Hmm.
You can be sad for several days. It's not major depressive disorder. And the other thing I'm really going to speak to is grief and depression are not the same thing, but they feel the same.
Hmm.
And honestly, this is my personal opinion. I think that depression is a form of grief in a lot of ways.
Okay.
So I'm going to get into this a little bit. The five stages of grief, and I hate the word stages because it implies we work through it and we're done. We're never
Yeah.
done with grief. Grief never
Yeah.
goes away. So the five states of grief, we have anger, depression, bargaining, denial, and acceptance.
Hmm.
So depression is a state of grief. To me, grief, depression, they're kind of interchangeable. They're not necessarily the same thing, but it
Hmm.
feels similar and they can be interchangeable because let's say my mom did die. So I'm still sad about it. I'll always be sad about it. If I let myself think about it, I am going to start crying. I'm going to be sad. After she died, I was really sad. I was likely diagnosable for depression.
Hmm.
Shit happens. We're going to go through these things. And even though I was diagnosable likely for depression during that time, I know it was grief.
Hmm.
Grief is an emotion that we never really get rid of because what triggers that grief is unresolvable.
Yeah.
Like, nothing's going to bring my mom back. Nothing's going to
Yeah.
bring your dad back. We're always going to be sad about not having them.
Right.
And it doesn't matter how long we've not had our parents in our lives. We're always going to be sad about it. We're going to be on our deathbed and be like, oh, I miss my mom. I can't wait to see her.
Hmm.
Yeah. I know you're feeling it. I'm sorry, Amy.
That's okay.
Yeah. So just even thinking about it, we're getting sad. Our bodies are like getting into the shutdown stress response, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And if our bodies are in this too long, are we going to want to eat? Are we going to want to do anything? No. I just want to fucking lay down in bed all day long and let myself feel my feels.
Yeah.
So to me, again, depression and anxiety aren't the same, but it feels the same.
Yeah.
It looks the same in a lot of ways. And the defining factor between depression and grief is what triggered the depression or the grief. Again, grief is an emotion that's not resolvable because what triggered it is never going to change.
Hmm.
What triggered the depression can change. That's, to me, the defining factor.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
When you're working on your mental health, sometimes the smallest rituals make the biggest difference. That's why we love Three Spirit, award-winning non-alcoholic elixirs designed by plant scientists and bartenders to help you feel good in every sense. Each blend has its own mood. Social Elixir helps you to connect and feel uplifted. Livener brings energy and focus without the crash. And Nightcap soothes your mind and body into real rest. Instead of numbing out, these drinks help you tune in, whether you need connection, energy, or calm. Head to us.threespiritdrinks.com and use the code THISWAYIN for 15% off your first order. Three Spirit, crafted for your mind, body, and balance.
If we're depressed, there's a lot of things we can do to help ourselves. And a lot of people are like, well, yeah, medication. Yeah, a lot of antidepressants out there for a reason. If you need an antidepressant, I'm not going to, poo-poo that. Go talk to your psychiatrist, your doctor, whatever. However, there's a lot of things that are not medication. What am I trying to say? They're not medications. There are things that you can do without meds. That was wordy.
I know what you mean.
Okay. Yeah. So we want to get our bodies activated. Depression is the shutdown response. So if we can get our bodies moving somehow with something we want to be doing, even if we
Hmm.
don't feel like it, if we logically know it's something that we normally like, if we
Hmm.
can get into it, if we can do some dancing, some golfing, some walking outside in nature, it doesn't matter. If your body normally likes to do something, get your body moving in that thing that you like. It may not be the remedy. It may only temporarily help.
Hmm.
Temporarily helping is okay though. Even if you know it's just going to be this 5 minutes, it's okay. Hey, it's a 5 minutes of reprieve from your shutdown.
Hmm. Hmm.
So if you can get your body activated, that is one of the best things to counteract the immobilization that comes with the shutdown response.
Okay.
So I'm just curious, Amy, what sort of stuff do you actually like to be doing physically?
Not much. I'm pretty sedentary. I like walking around outside with the dogs and in nature and saying hi to my tree and
Mm,
you know playing with not playing with but watching the squirrels play and things like
hmm.
that's something I can do at home. Basically, just walk out my back door
Yeah,
and it's not necessarily a physical. It's more mental or emotional. But I do have to get my ass out there.
that's right. Yep. Just being in nature is one of the best things you can do.
Hmm.
Nature is so amazing in how it supports us in so many different ways, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, relationally. I could go on. Nature is
Hmm.
really there to support us.
Hmm.
And I don't need to get on a soapbox. I hate how we don't support nature, but it's there to support
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never used to be a nature person. I thought I didn't like nature because my mom
Wow.
doesn't like nature. She's an indoor cat,
I gotcha.
and she doesn't even like looking out the window.
Oh,
And so I kind of grew up with that, you know.
uh-huh.
But once I started really getting out there and being like, oh my God, this is so gorgeous. And I used
Yeah.
to camp when I was a kid. I didn't like it.
Oh. Oh.
But now I have a renewed appreciation for all the critters and flora, fauna around me. And it
Mm-hmm.
really is amazing when you think about it. I
Yes.
downloaded that bird app and now I go out in the morning and see what birds are in my yard.
Oh, I love that.
It's great. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I got another cardinal or whatever. We have a
Mm-hmm.
ton of cardinals, but you know, it's exciting when you get a new bird, even if I don't see it.
Yes.
The app heard it, so I assume it's there somewhere. I didn't
I
see
love
it,
it.
but I counted anyway.
Wow. Oh, that's cool. It's almost like catching Pokemon.
Yeah, yeah.
I love that. That's great. Yeah, I mean, it's stuff, simple stuff like that that really
Mhm.
helps to not immobilize, to mobilize our bodies again.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to like take 3 hour nature walks in the middle of nowhere. That's not what I'm saying. It's just go outside. Go
Touch grass,
outside.
as they say.
Touch grass. Yeah. Listen to the birds. Watch the squirrels. Use your senses.
Yeah.
You smell the freshly cut lawn. Well, it's not
Hmm.
yet, but hopefully next month or so we'll have some lawns being
Yeah.
mowed.
I do love
So
that.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
how you know spring is really here.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So smell the smells. Hear what
Hmm.
you hear. All the birds. What do you see? What are you tasting? Anything in the air? Hopefully not. Uh, um, but yeah, what can you tell? What can you touch? Get your bare feet in the grass.
Hmm.
That's helpful. Touch some flowers. I mean, really experience it with your senses.
Hmm.
And if you're really depressed and you go outside and you have to force yourself and you're like, okay, I'm here in nature and I see the sun, I hear the birds, like, yep, okay. Well, hey, at least you tried. There's
Hmm.
at least something in that. There's a little bit of magic there. At least you can say, hey, I got outside today. And even if it's like, man, that's so superficial. That's makes no sense. But okay, I went outside today. Hey, that's okay. You don't have to believe that it was good for it to do something for you.
Hmm.
You went outside. That's an
Hmm.
accomplishment.
And your body still knows you went outside, even if your brain it doesn't think it was any good.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Yes. And so that's one of the best things I could say to anyone who has any symptom of depression, even if it's not major depressive disorder. If you're feeling down, go outside. It'll help. The next best thing I could say is listen to some music that you really like. I don't care if it's depressing or uplifting or whatever. Sometimes if we wallow in this and we hear music that says we're not the only one who feels this way,
Hmm.
that's helpful.
Hmm.
So I'm not going to lie. I love Alice in Chains. Love Alice in Chains. But some of their songs are so fucking sad.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, man. Um, have you listened to them at all? Do you like them?
Not like on purpose. Like I heard them on the radio. I know who they are, but I don't know. I don't think I could pull a song out of my ass of theirs.
Ah, okay. Yeah. One of their songs, Down in a Hole, is one of their most depressing songs.
Yeah, it
But
sounds like it.
it is. But if I'm feeling really down, like I'm gonna put that on because someone else feels the same way.
Hmm.
Yeah. Sometimes if other people are like, oh man, he's depressed and he's listening to super depressing music, that's not good. Like, don't judge that.
Yeah.
Don't judge that. They're listening to exactly what their soul needs in the
Hmm.
moment, really. And sometimes if we just know that someone else is there with us, even if they've been there before and not there right now,
Hmm.
that's good enough.
Yeah.
Because one of the worst things of depression is feeling isolated, socially
Yeah.
isolated. And that's not necessarily an official symptom of social isolation, but you just don't have the motivation to talk to people. You don't want to go see people. You don't want to leave the house to do things. Like it is very isolating. It's lonely.
Hmm.
And so again, listening to other music, Alice in Chains, it doesn't matter. It's good to know that someone else feels that way too. You're
Hmm.
not alone.
Hmm.
That's one of the main reasons that people do end up committing suicide or taking their own lives is that loneliness. They don't think anyone understands or anyone knows or anyone's going to be able to have that empathy. They're completely alone.
Hmm.
No one wants me here anyway. I'm doing everyone a favor.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a
Yep.
friend whose mother um, t took her life,
Mm,
and she wrote a letter to her daughter, my friend, and
hmm.
she gave it to me to read it. And it was really, it was a lot of that. It wasn't, oh, poor, woe is me. It
Right.
was, I don't really see any reason to continue. You'll be better off. Everybody I know will be better off. I'll be better
Yeah.
off.
Hmm.
And it was very matter of fact, very
Yeah.
logical.
Yes.
And it was really hard to read.
Yeah.
But I'm
Yep.
glad I did because I understood something that I didn't about
Yeah.
somebody who's in that state.
Hmm. And it does seem logical in those moments.
Hmm.
What happens with our parts of self in that sort of situation is our protector parts like, well, this is better than the suffering that's never ending.
Hmm.
This seems like the best option. And so logical parts like looking around, like, yeah, okay, I have evidence to say, yeah, it might be the best option. So I agree. And so it is literally protector and logical together making that determination if people have been sitting on it long enough.
Hmm.
Sometimes, a lot of the time, it's more or less a part of self that just kind of jumps in the driver's seat all of a sudden and takes over, where the rest of the parts, especially logical, are like, oh, what are we doing? Don't do that. And it's too late.
Hmm.
So it's one or both. So either this has been going on long enough, protector's like, there's no other option. Logical's like, yeah, there's no other option. Or this has been going on long enough where a part in the background just jumps in the driver's seat and takes over all of a sudden.
Hmm.
It's one or the other. Um, and even if it's one or the other, both have been probably building up for a while.
Sure.
So, what sorts of things really tell our parts of self that it's too much? It's better to end it than keep going on like this. Well, emotional pain is usually the thing.
Hmm.
Emotional pain of feeling alone, of feeling like no one understands me, feeling like I'm never going to get better, nothing's going to get better from this. I've tried all of these different medications and therapists and blah blah blah, and it's nothing's helping. Whatever, whatever. I mean, it's really that point where I've done everything I know how.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really the most uh, harmful piece of having depression is just your parts of self not necessarily working the way you want them to and reaching these types of conclusions. It's better to end it than to keep going.
Hmm.
A lot of people talk about, oh, suicide prevention, suicide prevention. It's not just keeping someone alive if they're, in the middle of an attempt or right before they attempt. It's all of the prevention stuff that leads up before this.
Hmm. Hmm.
If someone's not feeling so lonely, that's suicide prevention. If someone can say, yeah, I'm experiencing these symptoms and I know what I got to do. I need to go outside. I do yoga. I need to meditate. I need to go to church. It doesn't matter. Like if you have a repertoire of things that help you get through this, then that's suicide prevention.
Hmm.
If you have people who depend on you, that's not always suicide prevention, but it usually is. Um, there's a lot of things to do right now if you have symptoms of depression or you know someone who has symptoms of depression. Build these connections. Social connections are the most important things. Connections with nature, whether you go outside, hug a tree, you have a cat, it doesn't matter. Connections with nature is the next second best thing.
Hmm.
So connections with other people, connections with nature. Your connection with yourself is also right up there. If you don't have a good connection with yourself, if your relationship with yourself isn't great,
Hmm.
work on that. That's going to be suicide prevention too. The better you feel towards yourself, your parts of self, the less chances of any suicidal ideation or attempts you'll have.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of things. Medications will help take the edge off depending on your circumstance. A lot of medications, especially for teenagers, do have a warning that says if you start taking an antidepressant, it can increase the chances of suicidal ideation or attempts.
I've seen that on commercials. It seems so backwards to me.
Uh-huh. The prevailing thought is the medication helps to lift the symptoms of depression enough to give motivation to off yourself.
Ah,
And that's the most plausible answer I've heard, and that's really the only thing that I've heard to explain. If I look at it from a parts of self point of view, it does help to the antidepressants help bring the body out of that immobilized state. And so you're more mobilized. And if you're more mobilized, then you're more likely to act on the ideation you already have.
sure. Okay.
And so that's why I buy this explanation. But to
It
me,
makes sense. It makes
yeah,
sense. A lot
yeah,
more sense than, just taking this medication to help you not feel like this is going to make you feel like this,
right,
you know?
exactly.
So, yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah. So I do want to follow APA recommendations and say, go to get an antidepressant, but that's not always the answer.
Hmm.
I've known lots of people who have been on antidepressants for a really long time and they take the edge off, but that's not the be all end all.
Hmm.
And a lot of the time, psychiatrists these days are trying to add not just more antidepressants on top of an antidepressant, they're trying to add antipsychotics.
Hmm.
And a lot for some people it helps, but for a lot of people it doesn't.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking to my experiences, of course. And what I hate about antipsychotics is if I'm working with someone and doing, deeper work, especially with parts work, it really screws it up.
Oh,
It really screws it up. So if you have depression and you're working on deeper things, an antipsychotic is not conducive to that.
does it prevent you from going that deep?
The best way I can explain it is you know how on train tracks, sometimes if there's tracks converging or whatever, and they have like that track switcher,
Hmm.
that's kind of what happens in our heads. So our different parts of self are different clusters of neural pathways, neural networks. And so between different parts of self, there's neural pathways. And so these antipsychotics do the switcher. And so you either can't access certain parts of self or it opens access to other parts of self you don't want access to.
Oh,
So it just really screws things up.
huh.
Another example I can give with antipsychotics is if I'm working with someone with parts of self, we always take a look at the mental meeting space and see what's going on within that environment and what's going on with parts of self. So the antipsychotics can really blow that up, for lack of a better word. For example, I had a client who wasn't taking an antipsychotic, and things for years were about the same in the mental meeting space. Doing little incremental work at a time because there's a lot of trauma. And she got on an antipsychotic, and her mental meeting space was just so fucked up.
Really?
Yeah, like things were happening that shouldn't have been happening, and her parts were freaking out, and it's like, wow. And the only thing that changed was this antipsychotic.
Wow, that is
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
Poor
So
choice
of
of words,
course,
I guess.
no, you're good. You're good. Of course, what I'm talking about is from my own experiences, and not everyone has this experience, but just knowing how parts of self and the neural networks and all of that go, antipsychotics aren't conducive to working on deeper things.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, um, medications are fine and good, but that's not going to get to the roots of everything. And so if you have a depression and you want to not be depressed anymore, a good EMDR therapist is going to be great. An EMDR and ego state therapist is even better.
Hmm.
CBT, DBT, that will get you so far, which is good stuff, but you want to go deeper than that. Because really, with every diagnosable mental health disorder, it always boils down to what's going on with your stress response.
Hmm.
And that's what's going on with depression. You're just kind of stuck in the shutdown mode.
Hmm.
So again, going outside, listening to music, getting your body activated somehow. Medications are helpful. And then really building your human connections. If you have people who are, you're lucky enough, people reach out to you, don't just ignore their call, answer. It's really hard to muster up the motivation to want to talk with someone. So be honest, like I'm not really feeling up to talking today, but I'm happy to listen to what you have to say. Or if you want to
Hmm.
listen to me, that's cool. But even if we just want to hang out on the phone for 5 minutes in silence, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. If someone reaches out to you, reach back out. It's even harder for you to reach out with someone not reaching out to you. So if someone's reaching out to you, please take that lifeline.
Sure. Sure.
Have you known anyone, well, that one lady you were talking about, like, have you tried reaching out to her or anyone who was like really in the throes of depression?
I did try with her. She had so many other things going on that it usually ended up being detrimental to me.
Yeah.
And I had other friends saying, do not talk to her.
Oh.
She is making everything worse. Do not believe her bullshit. She's
Mm-hmm.
making it up. That
Sure.
kind of thing. So then I kind of realized she was toxic and I kind of stopped talking to her.
Sure.
I do have another friend now who I believe is it probably has been, but in a depression. She talks a
Mm-hmm.
lot about how lonely she is.
Mm-hmm.
She talks a lot and about, you know, she does have friends. I check in with her every once in a while, but like we were going to go to a show together and she was very excited about going to the show.
Uh-huh.
And I reached out to her a week ahead and I said, you still coming to the show with us? And she said, I don't really feel like going. And I
Yep.
was like, oh,
Yep.
that makes me worry.
Mm.
And I said, are you okay? And she just texted me. This is all of her text. She just
Uh-huh.
texted me back and she said, I'm okay.
Yep.
And with like a little smiley face or something. And I'm like, I don't think I'm
Mm-hmm.
buying that.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't
So
buy
I
it.
need to reach out to her again because I am worried about her.
Yeah, definitely. And that's very typical of people who have depression. It's like, oh yeah, it's fine.
Don't worry
I'm
about
good.
me. I'm
Don't worry
fine.
about me. Yeah, huh? That's right.
Yeah.
One of the main, like, common negative cognitions with people with depression is I'm a burden.
Yeah.
And so if they're already feeling like a burden, they don't want to burden anyone else with how they're
Right.
feeling. Well, I don't want to saddle you with that. So don't worry about me. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Mm. And that's why it's so important to reach out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think if you know anyone who has depression, like if it's a friend, a family member, coworker, it doesn't matter if you like them enough. I mean, please do reach out.
Yeah.
If you don't like them, if it seems really annoying or whatever, don't reach out. That's going to be more detrimental.
Yeah. If you're
Yeah,
not reaching out with the right mindset, it's not going to help them either.
that's right. Yep. And if you do reach out, the last thing you want to do is be critical. Because if you're
Hmm.
critical in any sort of, even if you're trying to be constructively critical, that's not going to be received
Hmm.
well.
Hmm.
It's going to be received as, oh, well, I'm fucking up even more.
Hmm.
Jeez. Well, I can't talk to them because all I'm going to do is get criticized and harassed and blah, blah, blah. And so I'm just going to stop talking with them. And there's even more social isolation. There's even more negative cognitions, so
Yeah.
on and so forth. So you're absolutely right. You have to come into it with the right intentions and motivations. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, last thing I'm going to talk about is when people can lift out of symptoms of depression, it feels way better.
Hmm.
And so if anybody knows anyone who's all of a sudden like happier or peppier, who wants to do something more, well, maybe ask them how things were for them, leading up to today.
Hmm.
How are the last few months for you? And that way you can tell, like, if someone was in a major depressive episode, essentially, that's the 2 weeks long at a time of feeling downside, blah, unmotivated, all the other symptoms. Um, if you know they've had a major depressive episode before, then you want to keep in contact with them more regularly.
Hmm.
Because if someone's had depression before, they're likely to have it again.
Sure.
So there's different ways to diagnose depression. So major depressive disorder can be a single episode. It can be recurrent episodes. It can be mild, moderate, severe. Severe is what has the psychosis, the suicide attempts, that kind of stuff. And so, what am I trying to say with this? The more you know someone who has a history of depression, the more you can stay in it and help be a good support.
Sure.
Yeah. So there's so many other things I'm going to talk about. Bipolar disorder is a form of depression, but we'll talk about that another episode
Okay.
as well.
Yeah, I'm interested in that.
Yeah.
Bipolar and borderline.
Yeah.
I always mix them up in my head because they both start with B, but I know they're very
Right.
different.
They are different. And people do mix them up a lot. And
Hmm.
so when we do bipolar disorder, we will also touch on borderline
Yeah.
for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't want to be depressing. I think if anyone's listened to this, do something fun for yourself. Do something that you enjoy. Nature is great, but if you want to get something from Caribou Coffee, go get it. Have fun.
Yeah.
Just a little treat, a little something to pep you up.
Yeah.
Because talking about depression, having depression is no fun.
Yeah.
So
For
treat
sure.
yourself. Yeah.
Right. I like that. This Way In is a conversation about mental health and everyday well-being, but it is not therapy. Listening to this podcast does not create a therapist-client relationship, and the information we share is for educational and entertainment purposes only. If you are feeling overwhelmed or struggling with your mental health, please reach out to a qualified professional in your area. Never delay, disregard, or change professional recommendations or advice because of something you heard here. And please remember that any views expressed here are our own and don't represent any licensing boards. This Way In is co-produced by Brittany Baxter Dameron and me, Amy Lotsberg, at Collected Sounds Media. I also edit and manage the show, which is part of the Collected Sounds Independent Podcast Network.